afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the American Sports Connection. I am your host, the one and only Joey Railroads. I'm here with my buddy Adam today, and we're going to go and break down the NBA Finals. What's going on, Adam?
Yes. Got the caffeine in me. I'm okay now.
All is right with the world.
Oh, man. I thought I was going to stroke out there for a minute. Okay. Yes, I am here. I'm good. How are you, sir?
Doing good. Just staying inside. The humidity is fucking brutal outside.
Yeah, I'm not I'm an inside dog all summer. I can't deal with this stuff.
Well, I was going to take a walk in the park this morning, and when I took my son to school, as soon as I stepped outside, I was like, fuck that.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing the last 3 days. I walk out onto the step and I just cringe and back into the house.
He's scowling.
Yeah.
So, we finally made it to the NBA Finals.
Yep. It was a little dicey. I wasn't so sure who we were going to be talking about today.
Yeah, and one of your last rants you had came to fruition where we've had more blowouts this year in the playoffs than ever before.
Yeah, I understand it happens in basketball. Teams come out, have a bad night, But when you get to this level, you're supposed to be, these are supposed to be the best teams in the league, and I just don't want to see 25, 30-point, embarrassments, in the playoffs. That to me is indicative that something might need to be fixed about the playoff system, or, is there not enough parity in the league? I'm not sure what the answer is, but definitely we need to start asking some questions.
Some hard questions.
Yeah, because, like you and I were talking about on a previous show, I think, or maybe just, on a regular conversation, the stars are winning, and that's okay, but there needs to at least be some serious competition. But it just seems like, when you go in, you put these 16 teams in, and it's exciting and it's fun. And, who's going to upset who? Who's going to upset who? It always ends up seems to end up being the teams with the superstars that are going all the way. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I know a lot of people probably love that because they're, I love LeBron, I love this guy, I love that guy, but everybody but the Thunder. That's the only team with stars that find ways to blow it. Yeah, you could get it. They're going to have to reach out and sign a third star because apparently having two of the top 5 players in the league isn't enough for them.
No. I was going to say, and I hate agreeing with this guy, but Skip Bayless said that LeBron probably had the easiest road to the finals he can ever remember.
Yeah, I guess you could say that, and it kind of plays into the fact that, you're playing teams. If you're the number 1 seed, you're playing these, 8s, and then it was a very easy road for them, but you have to say too, Joey, that they took care of business. I mean, they swept everybody until they hit Toronto.
Yeah, and I think that was Toronto just kind of securing home court because I never really believed they had a snowball's chance in hell of beating them.
I was actually impressed that Toronto got as far as they did. I thought that was, really good coaching. I actually had predicted that they would fall to Indiana in that first round, which almost happened. I think they had to go
7
in every. Did Toronto go 7 in both the series they won?
I believe so.
Yeah, and so that was another factor too that we had mentioned before, was that the Cavs enter that series playing 8 games. and Toronto goes into it playing 14 games. So
in a short amount of time.
Right. So you're going into the conference finals, and you've played 6 more games than your opponent, in a matter of weeks. And I just think, that combined with the fact that talent-wise they're clearly outclassed.
They really have no true superstar.
I give Toronto credit, though, for not folding when they were down 2-0. They went back home and they took a couple and they made it interesting and they said, hey, we're here to win this. We're not content to be making our first conference finals.
Yeah, just fall on your sword.
Yeah, exactly. And just say, hey, we made it this far. This is a big deal for the organization or a stepping stone. They really fought hard and, they got 2 very good guards, which makes me wonder that if DeRozan and Lowry could explode against them, what Golden State's guards might be able to do against them. That could prove pretty interesting.
I was just going to talk about them. Golden State had an interesting ride to the finals as well.
They were tested. They were severely tested.
And they kind of had shitty luck with Steph Curry getting injured.
Yeah, and they also, I think the other thing that happened to them was that some of their, supporting cast, either, I don't know, you never know, you can never be sure if these guys are playing fully healthy or not, or, what, but, they did, as a team, they did some things that Golden State typically does not do. They were not assisting the ball well. They were getting brutally out-rebounded. And they actually got blown out in a couple of those games.
Game 3 and 4 in OKC.
OKC blew them out twice, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Portland may have beat them pretty badly once, or am I thinking of the regular season? But
anyway.
Golden State, they weren't themselves. They got tested. They got pushed a little bit, and a lot of people might think, well, that leaves the door open for LeBron. To me, that's good for Golden State that they got tested, that they got pushed to the brink.
I agree.
Because now they can say, hey, this could happen. We could lose this. We could blow this. Look how easily this could be taken, as a rug could be pulled out from under us, and
it's a wake-up call.
It is. I mean, being down 3-1 to OKC, they played three elimination games in a row. So I think now they understand. Hey, you don't want to dig a hole like that against a team led by LeBron James.
Absolutely not.
So I think they learned an important lesson. And I think if Cleveland is going to beat them, it's not going to be because Golden State didn't see it coming.
No, and I think if they're going to beat them, it's going to be a shootout.
Yeah, I mean, Golden State has showed that they can play either way. I mean, certainly they prefer to just drop 120 on you and just kill your desire to be there. But they've proven that they can win some pretty ugly games. I mean, even Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals, 96-88, that was a little bit of a mutter.
Yeah. Well, when they decide to play defense, that's what makes the difference.
You're right. And up until, certain flashes, I think the one big difference with them is they haven't, even during the regular season, they weren't quite the same defensive team that they were last season.
No. And they would go in stretches where they would play really good and then stretches where it would be really bad.
That's exactly right. And I think what they need to do now, playing at this level is, you can't have defensive inconsistency.
No. I will say this. People are talking about how great LeBron is now because he's going to have Kyrie and Kevin Love both healthy this year.
Right.
My concern, if I was a Cavs fan, would be is both of those players are a liability defensively.
Well, not only, yeah, I somewhat agree with you. I mean, Love, you can kind of forgive it because he's a rebounder and he's got that range where he stretches the other team's defense out to the perimeter.
Yeah.
But Kyrie Irving, yeah, he's absolutely a liability defensively.
That's what I'm saying, because you're going to have probably Klay Thompson, him having to guard, and that could be a nightmare for him.
Oh, the 6'7" Klay Thompson.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be problematic. How they're going to handle that, and while everybody is looking at Curry for obvious reasons, I think that could be a matchup in the finals if that's how Cleveland decides to play it. That could be a matchup in the finals that's going to really sway the pendulum into Golden State's favor, unless Kyrie Irving suddenly figures it out or they figure out something.
I agree with you, because Klay is the one that brought them back from the brink in Game 6.
Yeah, I mean, he really was the guy who was there when they needed someone to give them a push offensively.
And when you think about it, if he wasn't there with Steph Curry, he would probably be considered a top, 10, maybe even better guard in the league.
Oh, yeah, he would definitely be somewhere, and he would be somebody's number one weapon.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you stuck him on, a lower tier team or,
like a Toronto.
Yeah, I mean, he'd go to a place like Toronto or, I guess it's Atlanta or, and of course they're actually playoff teams, but they don't have that, big time number one guy. He could go to a lot of teams and just be the go-to guy, quote unquote.
What I'm curious to see is if Mozgov plays a lot of minutes in this series, because he gave the Warriors fits last year.
Yeah. Well, he's got that criminal style of defense. You play against him and you go in the locker room with claw marks all over your body. But no, you're right. I mean, he did a fine job against them, and I think that he's going to get heavy minutes. I think that he's going to have to. I think they're going to have to rotate him in to help out with that other mismatch.
Yeah, because it's going to be interesting, because they have Kevin Love now and Tristan Thompson and Mozgov, and then the other guy they traded for.
Oh, yeah. I know who you're talking about.
His name escapes me at the moment.
Yeah.
But he stretches out the floor as well, so it's like they're going to have to find some kind of balance. I think if they're not careful, Draymond Green could eat Kevin Love alive.
Well, that's the other thing that concerns me, too. That was the other matchup that for Cleveland I'd be nervously tugging at my shirt collar. Because, Draymond Green could just demolish Kevin Love. And Draymond Green is the kind of activity player, high-activity player that if Kevin Love wants to bail out and shoot threes, Green will go out there and defend him. He's high energy. He doesn't mind that.
Well, and the other thing that intrigues me, and I'm not knocking Kevin Love,
right.
I want to see if he can handle the big-time pressure.
Yeah.
Because the Warriors know how to get it done. And I'm wondering if Draymond Green, as this series goes on, is going to get in his head.
Well, Draymond Green talks a lot.
Yes.
So Kevin Love might want to bring the industrial strength earplugs.
I'll say this: I got a lot of respect for Green now after I heard what he said after the series with the Thunder.
Which was what?
Because they showed him and Steven Adams having a long conversation after the series was over.
Right.
And they interviewed him right after that happened, and they said, "We saw you talking to him. Do you want to discuss what you said?" He's like, "Absolutely." He's like, "I just put my arm around him and told him, how much I respect him and how much he's a great player and how he works hard and that we're a lot alike, and he's young, and I expect great things from him, and they're very cordial.
Well, that's a really charming and gracious thing to say and to do, and I agree with him honestly. To sidestep to the Thunder for a minute, with all the criticism that everybody has about them, and one thing I'll say about the Thunder is that a lot of people there's one big thing the buzz that I'm hearing when people talk about the Thunder. They're saying they're too good to get better because they got Westbrook and they got Durant and they got Ibaka in that contract and blah, 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 blah. They can't get any better. And this is my point. And I know that they blew this year, that they have a problem holding Lings, but the Thunder have the team to win now. I mean, why do people keep saying, "Oh, they're too good to get better"? Don't worry about getting better. You look what you have now.
I would say they're one player away.
This Adams kid, and this is exactly something I believe a conversation I had with you previously, and I don't think Draymond Green was exaggerating. This Adams kid has a chance to be another Draymond Green. Now, he's not a shooter. Maybe he could be another Joakim Noah. Somebody like that.
But he's a high-energy guy.
This Adams kid is going to be special. He is a high-energy, relentless, hard-working. He is a blood and guts. He is a 1980s basketball player. He's even got the 80s mustache.
Yeah.
But and I'm telling you, the addition of Waiters, who did not give them anything in that Game 7, by the way, which they probably needed. But generally speaking, that Dion Waiters, I mean, he's the sixth man. He's the guy off the bench that can hit big shots that they've been wanting. And, the rest of their bench is not superb, but it's serviceable.
Yeah.
And I think that there have been games where they just haven't used them enough. I don't think that they've missed. I think there's been a lot. I've seen games on the Thunder where and I'm not, look, they're professionals. If you have to play 45 minutes, that's what you have to do. That's what Durant said before Game 7. But I don't think that they gave that bench a chance to really get a groove.
I think they try to let their two stars do too much at times.
Well, they definitely play. And this is now we've changed coaches, we've changed other stuff. They play way too much isolation basketball.
Yes.
They play way too much 1-4
or 2-5.
Right. They play way too much of that, and I think if they were smart, they would do something like what the Cavaliers do at LeBron James. They should let Kevin Durant be the de facto point guard a lot more. Switch it up. Let Durant bring the ball up the floor.
I was going to say they tried doing it where like Durant would pass the ball, and I saw it in Game 7,
right,
where he passed it to open guys, but the guys didn't want to take the shot.
Well,
because you saw that he was like screaming on a timeout to that Robertson kid, I think his name was, the really pesky guy they have in the starting lineup.
Roberson or Robertson?
Yeah. He had a wide open three, and he took it. He passed it.
Well, you know what happened? He had an abysmal Game 7. If you look at the stat sheet, so I don't know how early or how late in that game that was, but
it was in the second half.
Okay, so his confidence may have been shot by then, which you can't allow to happen. You can't stop taking shots because you went 1 for 5 or whatever,
Yeah.
But no, that Roberson kid, he did have a really bad game from what I remember about the stat sheet. He had a bad game, and Waiters did nothing off the bench, which I think Waiters was only 2 for 8. But you're right, but that you can't necessarily entirely blame the players because that's the culture there. That's what they're accustomed to doing.
Right. What I was going to talk about now with the finals was the thing that concerns me if I was a Warriors fan is their front court. More so their big men.
Right.
I think that's their weakness right now.
Yeah, there's a very strange thing going on with the center position at Golden State, and I don't know if it's health related, if it's performance related, but Bogut's not. What they're kind of doing is they're kind of giving everybody 12 to 15 minutes at the center position. You'll get Bogut playing 15 minutes. You'll get Azelli playing 10, 12 minutes. You'll get Spates coming in playing 8 or 10 minutes.
And to be completely honest with you, with the minus the, it was either Game 4 or Game 5 that Bogut had that he had a double-double, he's been non-existent.
No, he hasn't been a factor at all. He hasn't been blocking shots. He hasn't been getting rebounds. They got soundly rebounded in many of those games in the UKC series.
I don't know if it's an injury or he just got old right in front of us or what.
I don't know if it's that or if Steve Kerr is, he's ineffective and Steve Kerr is kind of dividing up the minutes, trying to see, hey, who's my center here? Who's the guy I'm going to go to?
I actually think, and some Warriors fans might cringe when I say this, but he looked really good in a short stint, and maybe you give him a little bit more as Anderson Varejao.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what you have to do, but I think the thing with Varejao is, you've got 3 guys that are probably better at that position than he is, or should be better. And actually, here's another monkey wrench that gets thrown into the gears, is that the Warriors play some of their best basketball with Draymond Green at the center position.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they're going to handle that, but in this series, they are going to need a center that can protect the rim against LeBron James. They are going to need somebody to protect the rim, to be a force, to intimidate would-be drivers in the lane. They're going to need a guy that's going to go out there and get 12 to 15 rebounds every single night. They're going to need a guy that's going to get, not even if he doesn't get block shots, a lot of altered shots.
I was going to say, the combination of those guys have to be smart and not get in foul trouble.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's sort of the danger of Draymond Green being your most aggressive and your most prolific interior defender, is that he also is going to be seeing a lot more action, and we've seen games where he's gotten in foul trouble early, and that has badly disturbed the rhythm of the Warriors, offensively and defensively.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So that's problematic. But if Bogut, I don't know if he's hurt, if he's tired, whatever, but it's 4 to 7 games left in the season. He's got to one last push.
Right, well, and what's interesting, if I remember correctly, his deal is up at the end of the season.
Yeah.
So maybe, this is, if just, thinking ahead, maybe he retires if they, go back-to-back.
Maybe he goes off into the sunset with 2 titles. Could be.
Because he's not spring chicken anymore.
No, he's not. And
Especially
I don't,
with his injury history.
Yeah, I was just going to say that too. I don't think he's ever 100%. I don't think Andrew Bogut is ever 100% when he steps on the floor.
And he's 31.
Really? Is that all?
Yeah, he'll be 32 in November.
I actually would have thought he'd have been older than that. But see, here's the thing. He's been injured a lot, but he's also missed a lot of games due to injury, which on the one hand, you might want to argue that, well, he's a young 32 because he hasn't had to play in as many games. But if the health isn't right, it doesn't really matter.
He's never been the same after that horrific injury.
Yeah, that's true. And he's had some bad luck with injuries.
He really has. I'm trying to think because J.R. Smith, to me, is another X factor in this series.
Yep. Well, J.R. Smith, we all know that he can get hot and hit circus shots, off balance threes, running threes.
But see, he's it's either all or nothing with him.
Yeah, and it's funny because when he really hunkers down and plays defense, he'll get you some steals. He'll get you some deflected balls. But that's another thing that he doesn't do 100%. So I think J.R. Smith really is more of a liability because if he were in there, getting 18 points every single night and getting 2 or 3 steals every single night, I could say, okay, I could put up with the rest of his crap. But he's just too inconsistent for me.
Him and then another guy who I thought when they initially traded for him was a great move, and I actually really liked him a couple years ago. And boy, is he disappointed, is Iman Shumpert.
Yeah, Shumpert just has never really found his place on their chessboard. He does not look comfortable to me.
No, and I gave him a pass last year because I think he was pretty banged up.
Yep. Injuries again, yeah.
Yeah, however, though, this year it's just, like you said, he's looked like a lost puppy.
If anything else, you would have expected some really hardcore shutdown defense from him. And
because when he was with the Knicks, he was really good at that.
Yeah, and I've even seen him out of place defensively, confused defensively. Yeah, he just doesn't look comfortable there.
I was going to say, maybe it's just a bad fit.
Yeah, I still think Iman Shumpert could be an effective player, but I don't know if Cleveland is the place for him. It's not looking like it.
No, and then, see, this is going to be interesting to me because then you're going to have more time for Cleveland's bench with the annoyance known as Matthew Dellavedova.
Right. Yeah, well, he's another one. He's another little mugger, but, they're going to need some scrappiness. They're going to need some guys to agitate Curry and agitate Clay, try to get them, not in places where they're comfortable. Of course, the problem with Curry is he's comfortable
anywhere,
watching shots from anywhere without looking at the basket. I
remember last year in the finals, everyone's like, "Oh, Dellavedova got in his head," and then he just torched him.
Yeah, I mean, over a series, it's not good enough to do it over one game. You have to do it over a series. And the great thing about the Warriors that we tend to not talk about is how well coached they are. And when they run into trouble, Steve Kerr makes the adjustments. And they found ways to get Curry comfortable in that series after he struggled a little bit early.
You can say that even this year, the coaching job he did, especially in this past series.
Yeah. I mean, I just think that it's kind of funny to say because they're back-to-back champions and they won so many games, broke the win record. But I don't think people still don't appreciate what a really great coach Steve Kerr is. I think the idea that a lot of people have is, this team is so talented and so explosive. Anybody could be their coach, and they would be. And if history has taught us anything, it's that you could be sublimely talented. If you don't have good coaching and good chemistry, you're not going to get it done.
I got 2 words for you when you say that. Doug Collins.
your nemesis.
No, I just mean if everyone wants to say that, then why didn't Doug Collins win a championship with the Bulls?
No, I understand what you're saying. I do.
You know what I mean? Because you can have a coach, but you have to learn how to manage those egos and coach.
Oh yeah, coaching a talented team. In some ways, people may say, it's easier because they're better. Well, yeah, but in other ways, it's harder because, like you said...
I would say so, especially with as animated as Draymond Green can become.
I'll tell you this. I think that there are a lot of places where Draymond Green could be playing right now where he would be like a problem child.
Yeah, I almost, when I look at him, he almost, and I hate to say this because he's such a good kid,
Yeah.
is he reminds me so much of, if he was in the wrong spot, of Dennis Rodman.
How about that? Yeah.
I mean, where he plays so ferocious and those types of things, but you could see him, if he was in the wrong situation, becoming, a knucklehead.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, imagine him, on a team like the Sacramento Kings or the Knicks.
Oh, it'd be a nightmare.
He'd be up for suspensions. He'd be in trouble. He'd be in nightclubs, accidentally blowing his kneecap off.
I'll tell you this, and it made me laugh, and you'll roll your eyes when I tell you this. Stephen A. Smith was talking. What's today? Wednesday? Yesterday, I think it was, or Monday. One of those days.
Right.
And he said about how much love he has for Steph Curry. He's like, however, I don't want to see LeBron lose another finals. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Well, the fact that he says that, that's kind of going to be the historical asterisk on LeBron James' career. If he were to go to this one and lose another one, what would that make him, like 2-5 or something like that? That would be the big asterisk, because everybody. Well, the first thing they'll say, they'll start counting. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they'll cut. He could have had as many as Jordan, and blah 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 blah.
Well, you'll get a good laugh out of this. I heard LeBron apologists yesterday trying to say, well, 2 of those finals don't count because one of them was when they got swept by the Spurs and he had no talent. And then last year didn't count because of all the injuries. I'm like, what?
Well, the LeBron apologists, they have an amazing way of fudging statistics. Like, here's a funny one. And we all know that Steph Curry and LeBron James are not the same player. It's just there's no point in comparing them. They're completely different players, different styles, different position. But somebody posted a thing on Facebook. This is how dumb they get, trying to make LeBron look good. I said, look at this. Now let's stop this argument about who's better, Curry or LeBron James. Look what LeBron James did by the time he was, 26, 28, whatever. Now look at what Curry did by the time he was 28. It's like, duh, one of them did not go to college.
Exactly.
One of them played for 4 extra years en route to his whatever age they were comparing, 28, 30, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, how dense can you get? I mean, the sheer volume of it. And so the interesting thing was I looked up the Basketball Reference website, and they have a thing where you can get average statistics per 36 minutes played. And the numbers stack up, pretty well. And I mean, of course, it's hard to compare these things because LeBron has been to so many more finals, and he's been a constant face of the league, best player of the league for a number of years. But I think that this finals thing with LeBron, it could be a thorn in his side historically.
It's almost like he has Buffalo Bills syndrome.
Yeah, I mean, he has to get it turned around. To me, if he doesn't at least bat 500 in the finals, we don't know what the future holds. If he may never get to another one. He may get to 3 more. Who knows? But if he doesn't bat 500, that's not going to look very good on his ultimate, player of the century resume.
I will go on a limb and say this. If Steph Curry and the Warriors beat them again, then he is no longer the king.
How about if they beat... Here's the thing that would really have the public in a firestorm. How about if they beat them more handily with Kevin Love and Lowry on the floor?
Then there's no then you can't. There's no questions, no doubt.
That would be a devastating blow to LeBron James's legacy. This is really go time for him.
I was going to say, this is no excuses. You got all your weapons. now put up or shut up.
I think he's got, and I hate to say this about Tyronn Lue, I'm sure he's an intelligent guy, but I think LeBron has the masthead coach that he wants now. In other words, he's got the figurehead coach that'll basically leave him alone and let him do what he wants. And I think that's what LeBron has always wanted.
I agree.
And I think he's finally got that. I think he's got the coach that he wants. Of course, that changes quickly with LeBron sometimes. But, I mean, he's kind of got everything in place. And if the Cavaliers, lose this series, then you're talking he's going to drop the 2-6 in the finals?
2-5.
2-5, okay. And, that's, oh, man.
And when you think about it, and I'm not bashing the guy, he's really one Ray Allen three-pointer away from only winning one.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I say to that. I always say, oh, well, if this, if that, shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm just,
Yeah, no, but I hear your point though. But the thing with James is, here's where it gets to his legacy, which is when you talk about truly great players making other players better. And I understand that the Spurs were light years better than LeBron the year that he got that team to the finals. But even if they are, you are LeBron James. You got that team to the finals with that team. In other words, you won 3 playoff series with that same team to get to those finals. Now,
yes,
you're going to let yourself get swept. And I think that's the kind of the point that I'm being led to here, is that what really is LeBron's, how high or low does he score on the scale of greatness by osmosis? How much does he really make other players around him better? Or is just he one of those guys, ultimately, like what kind of Dominique Wilkins was like, well, just give me the ball, I'll do it all. Get out of the way, you suck,
I've never seen a guy that's considered a quote-unquote superstar or face of the league that has such an inconsistent jumper.
Yeah, I think it's gotten better, and I think he's gotten more clutch. And I think, as I was looking at his career field goal percentage, it's better than I would have thought it would be. I don't know how his three-point percentage was this year. I forgot to look that up, but that's always been a problem. Of course, he doesn't take many of those, as many of those as he used to, from what I can see.
Yeah.
But I think the thing with LeBron is when you've got the size, the strength, the speed, the quickness, he's learned that he's almost like a beefed-up Magic Johnson. He's just a guy that can do it all. He's an excellent passer. He's got great vision. He's a good rebounder. He's constantly getting these games that are borderline triple-doubles,
Absolutely.
And he's a very good defender. He's a very smart basketball player. He knows what's going on the floor. He knows where everybody is supposed to be. I think he's a good coach on the floor. But in terms of actually making the other players better, that's not in the makeup or in the personality of all superstars. They're not don't all have that sort of, I don't know if I want to call it like people skills, know? So I think that's a big question with LeBron.
This year, he is shooting his second worst percentage in his career from 3.
Okay.
He's shooting almost 31%.
Yeah. So that's never really improved with him, and I think what he's done, I don't know if the attempts bear that out, but he doesn't seem to take as many of those.
He's only taken 282.
Mm-hmm. That is, to me, is something that should be part of his game that would make him so unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
So unstoppable.
If he were, well, this is why I find it interesting, because I don't know if other people are willing to admit this or not, but to me, it looked like he kind of, I don't want to say lost a step, but slowed down a little bit this year.
I'm going to say this. I think he's learned how to use quickness, which is to say that he'll bring up the floor as the point guard, and he'll watch the defense get set. And just as they're getting set, he'll squeeze through. And what he does very well is he splits defenders. And then once the defenders are split, now the Cavaliers' offense is at an advantage. Now he can do what he wants with the ball. And he rarely makes a bad decision passing the ball. So that's something that he's good. Now, has he lost a step overall, like with speed? Maybe he has. But I think he can still get by because he's got that quickness to split the defense.
I just mean because he's been in the league, God, I think since 2002. So he's almost my age. He's 32, I believe.
Right.
And without being in college, those miles tend to, pile up quickly, especially when you've been to 6 straight finals.
Yeah. Which in itself is a really incredible accomplishment.
Absolutely, but you have to figure going to 6 straight finals. That's 6 straight deep playoff runs. So you're looking at probably another 3 to 4 seasons right there.
Yeah, well, you need 12 wins to get to the NBA Finals. So that would be 72 wins over 6 seasons. We don't know how many games they lost in those series, but you would have to guess that puts his playoff games, well up over 100.
Absolutely.
So you're right, and although some people might say, oh well, he's a younger 32 because he didn't play all those college games, but really those college games are not as the college schedules and the style of play. It's not as punishing, but you got to remember too the games are shorter. So what I would argue is I would say, well, no, to me he's really an older 32 because he's played at the NBA level 4 years longer or 320 some games more than the typical 32-year-old.
Yeah, because Kobe started breaking down, around 35?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe even before that. But he's kind of like a 36-year-old NBA player almost, and that's kind of scary.
So, and I'm not trying to knock the man.
Right.
So let's just make it clear. Him being 32, almost 33, I think, next season, you don't know how many more shots he's going to get.
No, and this is where veterans peak. Even if they lose a step, players usually what happens is the experience, the wisdom, the knowledge that they accumulate over their careers, and they have some of their greatest moments around that age. And I think that goes to all sports. 33, it's like it's a great age in boxing. Football, if you're a running back, it's a little old, but some of the other positions, it's not bad. So 33 or 32, 33, that's sort of where everything peaks together, where you may not be 100% of what you were physically, but mentally, you are right there.
Absolutely.
So that's sort of like prime time. Like LeBron is in the area. He gets to that 35. That's where there's a big question mark. Where you have age, injury, lack of speed, stuff like that.
I apologize, Adam. He'll be 32 in December.
Okay, so he's still young, but he's played the games of a player 4 years older than him.
And I got to tell you, I don't think he will say this to the media. That the Cavs want them, they don't want them.
Well, I think he kind of has to say that because they beat them, and now he wants to go back and get revenge. So that's sort of like...
The reason I say this is because he's not afraid of Kevin Durant.
No, I mean, there are, sadly, there are several reasons not to be. Because, I mean, he's beaten him before because Oklahoma City is the worst finishers of all of the top playoff teams.
They're tied with the Sixers for blowing fourth-quarter leads.
Right, they blow fourth-quarter leads like crazy. And, that is not something that LeBron would find very intimidating. I mean, but nobody wants the Warriors. Nobody wants the Warriors.
Well, I just mean they're the team that he's like Skip Bayless said, and he made me laugh. He said when Steph Curry and Clay and them hit those barrage of threes in the third quarter to go up double digits to basically put that game away, that LeBron was sitting at home going, "Oh no!"
Right. Yeah, and that third quarter is going to go down, in the history as one of those famous kind of like Napoleon and Waterloo and these military disasters. That third quarter, I think they were outscored 29-12.
Great. That might be one of the greatest series of all time.
Well, it was a great comeback. I mean, it was a great comeback against a very talented team. And, it's memorable because coming back from 3-1 does not happen very often.
No.
But, I think this is a good opportunity for LeBron to really solidify his legacy. If he knocks off the Warriors, after the record-breaking win season and, the defending champs, the team that knocked them off last year, and, it would be a good feather in his cap. So I think in a way he's glad to have the opportunity, but another way he's got to be thinking, if these guys are hot, how the hell do you stop them? We can't outscore them.
No.
And they play enough good defense to just kind of give them that advantage.
Just enough.
Yeah. And, of course, they've got, the secret weapon, Iggy, to put on your best offensive player. By the way,
my goodness, LeBron must have nightmares about him after he played him so well last year.
Did you notice that in Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals that on the roster sheet that Iguodala was listed as being in the starting five?
Yes.
And Barnes played his 22 minutes off the bench?
Yes.
So, shapes of things to come,
Well, I just read a quote. It's funny you mentioned that before we got on here. Barnes said he doesn't care if he's starting the game or coming off the bench. He wants to do whatever to win.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, Barnes, because what's best is for you to come off the bench.
And this is probably it for him anyway. Somebody's going to dump the Brinks truck at his house after the season.
Somebody is, but I have to tell you, it really makes me wonder. For a contract year, Joey, he has been underwhelming.
Yeah.
In both the regular season and in these playoffs. Now, he's very versatile. I'll give him that. And I know that a lot of people, he was surrounded by so much talent, he couldn't really flourish, but you can still shoot at a good percentage. You can still, I just don't know somebody's going to dump a bunch of money on him, but if I'm on the outside looking at the Warriors, I'm thinking, I don't know. I think the Warriors might be making Harrison Barnes look better than he really is.
All right, well, I want to get your pick, and then I want to bring something up with the Warriors about potentially free agency and get your thoughts, and then we'll get out of here.
Okay.
All right, who do you have winning this series?
Due to their ability to spread the ball around, to attack ferociously without getting discouraged, the superiority of their bench, their coaching, and just the fact that they are just sublimely unstoppable when they play their best basketball. I have the Golden State Warriors winning this in 6.
You took the words out of my mouth. I have them winning in 6 too.
Yep.
I wanted your opinion on something since I've just remembered earlier in the show that Bogut's contract is up after this season, and he's making it was either 11 or 12 million this season.
Right.
If he leaves, what is your opinion? And I really like this guy, but I don't know if he can do it on a consistent basis. But I think he would be a great fit for them because he does all the things they would need at the center position. If the Warriors went after that Biyombo from the Raptors.
I really have grown to respect his game. His high energy, his nastiness, his rebounding, shot blocking, his big throwdowns. He's got a motor that never shuts off. And I also learned that when he was with Charlotte, he was learning a lot from Patrick Ewing.
Okay.
Which will make him a ferocious defender and kind of have a little bit of a nastiness to him. But he's young, he's athletic, he could run the floor with them, but I don't know this is the mystery to me. I don't know what the perfect center fit for is the Warriors. It's a little bit of a mystery because on the one hand, I want somebody bigger and I want like a post finisher and a guy that can block shots, but if you get that, you often will not get a guy that can run the floor with them. You also, you want a guy that can, a center that can hit jump shots on Golden State's offense is always a good thing because, they are a jump shooting team ultimately. So I'm kind of like, I can't give you a definitive on that right now. There's things I like about him and things that he has that I would say that the Warriors already have enough of at the center position.
Yeah, I just wanted your opinion because I had saw that he was available too.
Well, as a younger player and a high energy guy, I guess I would have to say I would tip in favor of getting him. I don't know who else is going to be out there. Maybe he'll be the best guy available for them. But the Warriors in the center position is, I think the style of play that they play now, they are always going to be a team that fields probably 3 different centers in any one game.
Right.
I don't think they're ever going to be a guy, Olajuwon, 40 minutes, and he's going to see. I don't think that the center position is expected. I think what they expect of the center position is a little bit more like the Bulls in the 90s expected from their center position.
Yeah, that seems valid.
Bring your stainless steel flashlight and your big metal lunch pail and get ready to do some work.
All right, everybody, we're going to get out of here for today. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all that good shit. And we'll see you next time. Have a good day, everybody.
Take care.